All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I want to talk a little bit about Binance UK FCA confusion because recently there was an announcement made by the FCA and by Binance themselves, and the Twitter just exploded as well, how Binance has withdrawn their the registration from the FCA. So there is a little bit of a confusion here. So I mean, UK now officially, and let me just turn the AC down. UK now officially is welcoming crypto projects, and crypto, wants to be the new crypto hub, right? So it's following a lot of the other countries around the world where they're welcoming crypto projects to come along. So one would be very confused to understand, like, hold on. Then why would Binance withdraw their thing? So remember this, they were not denied, right? So the thing here to understand, the facts here to understand is the FCA did not decline or deny. There was a bit of a confusion. They did flag them up a little bit, saying, look, maybe you guys have done some things that you shouldn't be doing. So they were flagged, but they were not denied. So there's a clear distinction, right, between someone being denied and not being denied. But Binance actually withdrew the application on their own basis and said they pull out. Now, they didn't pull out of UK in that form, right? So what they done was the company that they registered, they just decided to cancel that, whatever. So that's something you have to do if you don't want to be part of the FCA or you don't want to be part of that framework. Then you have to withdraw your application and it has to go through the entire process, right? Believe me, I know, because I have actually applied with FCA once before regarding something. This is many years ago, and there is a process through this. So even for you to be with FCA, right, even to be a registered company with FCA, it's not just registration and then it's over. No, it's not that simple, right? So once you get approved, there are fees and expenses included, and then after you are approved, every year there is a fee that you also have to pay as long as your application is still active with them. So clearly Binance had a application active with them. Whether it went through or not doesn't matter. They were still paying a particular fee for them to be there. But if they're not going to use it, they don't need to. Now, with the current new system that's coming in, right? So how UK is now crypto friendly and UK wants to be a crypto hub. That doesn't apply to the old FCA application, right? So there's a whole new application process that needs to be done. In fact, October 2023 onwards, there will be a new framework coming in place. So I've got a feeling, and this is not confirmed, neither did FCA confirm this, neither did Binance confirm this, that they probably withdrew the application because they can't have two applications running at the same time. So they probably withdrew the application in order to apply for the new regulatory framework in the United Kingdom, because the United Kingdom has openly welcomed crypto projects, right? So it just doesn't make any sense why they would withdraw. So there is a lot of misconception going on. There is a lot of skepticism going on where people think, oh, that's it, Binance got kicked out and this, that. No, it's got nothing to do with that, right? There are some countries where they were denied, completely denied, and they said, okay, fine, in that case, we're not going to operate here. So they left, right? So they pulled out of those countries. So that definitely has happened. But those are just, a lot of people are speculating and there's a lot of rumors going on. So that's what you have to understand. The clear information here is Binance has withdrawn the application from the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority in the United Kingdom, and it's not a coincidence that in October there is a new legal framework coming in, and also the fact that you cannot have two applications open for the same thing. So they're probably getting rid of the old one and then doing a brand new application, because obviously nothing's really happened, right, since they applied back in early to 2020, something like this, or I think it was earlier than that. I think it was in 2018, 2019, something like that. Nothing really has happened, right? So what's the point keeping that application open? Waste of money, waste of resources, get rid of it. If there's a new framework coming in, we'll apply for that, right? So that's what's probably going on. That's what I at least assume. So I'm just going to stay positive. I haven't seen anything else. Now, a lot of people should understand this as well, right? When you're dealing with centralized exchanges or, regulated or almost regulated or trying to be regulated cryptocurrency exchanges, please do understand that always leave money that you can afford to lose, or at least, you can afford to have locked up for a long period of time, like MT Gox, right? So Mt. Gox, where people have had their funds locked up for almost a decade, right? And they are getting their funds right now, and they're getting back their, I think they're getting their BTC value back, which is awesome. So a lot of people are going to be very rich. But obviously it's just their own holding anyway. So MT Gox or whatever, they held it for them and now they're refunding it back, which is great. But it took 10 years. So this type of situation can arise because bureaucracy and paperwork unfortunately takes forever, right? So that's what it is. So you just have to understand the legal framework can be a long-winded process, let's put it that way, right? So sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not, and in this case it took them forever. They didn't get approved, they didn't get declined either, so they just took it away because there is a new thing coming out. So that's what I'm seeing for Binance right now. I'm actually not seeing anything negative, but as just an advice, as I said, like, no financial advice. Obviously, you do what you want to do, but always keep very minimal amount. Now, one thing I have noticed, and I have mentioned this on Discord, and this is how I got this information actually. So I wasn't really following them. I knew about it, but I didn't really take much notice solely because of how I feel about it. I don't really feel that Binance is just going to give up just like that, right? They do have, they are known to give up in some countries, but then that's because those countries have declined them. So they just say, you know what, sorry, just move on to another country. So they do that quite often, right? So, but in this case, it wasn't the case. And what I noticed was, like, months ago, right? So I started noticing, this is late 2022, early 2023, that a lot of the staking, a lot of the earning products and XYZ in the UK, or if you're a UK resident, was clearly banned, right? So they said, oh, your UK regulatory framework does not allow this, you cannot trade. So we couldn't do leverage trading, we couldn't do staking, we couldn't do earn protocols, locked staking or whatever. We couldn't do any of those things, right? And what I noticed was a lot of the products that I was already kind of dealing with, or I was already staked in, was unstaked and sent back to my spot wallet, right? So there's no way for me to do that. So when that happened, I think I probably mentioned it on a video, it especially happened with DOT, because I did have a lot of DOT with Binance. So I said, okay, fine, I'm just going to move it over to somewhere else, right? And I think we had this conversation on Discord. So I started moving it onto decentralized protocols, and I've just left it there. Is there any risk there? There's risk everywhere, right? Put it this way, nothing is 100% safe, but it's a lot more safer than like centralized exchanges being unregulated or deregulated or whatever you want to call it, right? So that kind of situation we avoid. But obviously, Binance is still my most favorite exchange. I do love their stuff. I mean, there are plenty of other exchanges, but I don't feel as confident with them, right? So when it comes to Binance, Coinbase, we get to see the founders are very active, they're social, they're public. At least we know who to go and get, or, at least we know that regulations can also chase them up in XYZ, right? So for that reason, at least there's some level of safeguard, but nothing is 100%. When you're doing decentralized, yes, now you own the responsibility, so there is nobody for you to go and blame. So that's the plus and negative, right? When you're dealing with an exchange, at least you can point fingers at somebody. However, when you're dealing with protocols yourself, there's nobody to blame but yourself, right? And if something goes wrong, then it goes wrong for everybody. So that's how it is. So there are those risks that you need to understand. Other than that, look, if I was going to send you a BTC update, there's not really much to say. I have mentioned this about 2 videos ago. I said, look, BTC, yes, it looks okay. I don't see an issue. I haven't seen any issues with BTC. Ethereum, I'm still kind of worried about, but last week's candle did show us a validation where it wants to move up again. But we're nowhere near the safe zone, so I'm still going to be cautious with that, because anything could happen. And what I mean by that is, like, if this then that, right? So Ethereum, if it dumped, then we could have seen a massive dump in the entire market, and if BTC could have been dragged down with it. Also, now that BTC is moving up, we need BTC over 30k to be confident, right? Because if not, then the entire market could have another 10-15% of a dump. So it's just one of those kind of things. You've got to really be cautious on how things are Like, I saw BTC didn't show us any indication. It's fine. It's down there. The only risk was Ethereum going down. BTC looked absolutely fine. But even then, at $25,500, the confidence wasn't just there, right? The confirmation just wasn't there. We've just seen the RSI, stochastic RSI, actually kind of turn, but that was due to last week's movement. Kind of turn, but that's only 7 days worth of data. What we need is that data to be confirmed with this week's data. That means on Sunday, the close, we will get a confirmation of what the previous candle was, if it wants to go up or not. By that time, we might hit the 30K. If we do, great. And if we do, then we confirm 30K and then we move on. So this is the process itself is a longer process. It might take another 2 weeks for us to get that confirmation. I'm patient. I'll wait for that. Because I don't want to see a massive dump at the 30K where everyone becomes all bullish, because that's what's been happening, right? People start being emotional and they're moving either direction. So, you know, when everyone's bullish, everyone's bullish. When everyone's everyone's bearish, right? But you got to look for those opportunities, and you got to sit in there, sit tight, and be calm, right? Patience hands will always be rewarded. So that's what I'm seeing for the crypto industry. Other than that, there's a lot of like, you know, I've mentioned this, there's a working conspiracy theory, right? So I think there's a conspiracy going on against crypto and all sorts, and other people are talking about this. Well, some people have talked about how China wants to secretly pump BTC. Listen, it doesn't matter who pumps BTC, it matters who bought it cheap, right? Who was responsible for dumping the coin and bringing the prices down? That's what matters, right? So if you want to talk about a conspiracy theory or a working conspiracy theory, right? Something that's a work in progress, then yes, what we got to understand is who brought the market down. Who has the capacity to buy a majority of the market when it comes down? Who has the capacity to buy big lump sums? Who has the capacity to have, you know, hundreds of companies as a subsidiary or a sister company or whatever you call it under them, right? Where they can literally do whatever they want completely unnoticed, right? So those are the kind of things. If you do want to understand a little bit more about this, go and check out my last video. I did mention a whole bunch of stuff there. Some people it will make sense, some people it will be complete nonsense, but it's okay. Do you know what I mean? I've only said what I think is happening, what my opinions are. And as I said, it's a working theory. It might be true, it might not be true. I don't know. There's no facts there. There may be a few facts, but I don't want to mention those. I'm not going to put anything on a video to say, guys, this is the fact and this and that. Listen, I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, right? Because ultimately what you got to understand, right? If the crypto market or a crypto sphere doesn't break, it's just going to make it stronger. That's the whole thing you got to understand. It doesn't matter who comes, right? Have you given in to these people, right? These institutions or corporations or multi-corporations, whatever you call it, right? Countries, regulations, you know, whatever, governments. It doesn't matter if it's China, if it's America, or if it's Russia, it doesn't matter. If they come and they create massive FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the industry, and everybody starts giving up and dumping it for a loss, and then those same governments or corporations or whatever you want to call it, entities, let's just say entities, decide to buy cheap and then pump the entire market, who cares who they are? What matters is who lost out, right? And the weak hands, paper hands, and it's wrong for me to say that, but the truth is, right, if you bought something, right, you bought an asset, right, for $1, for $10, for $1,000, for $20,000, for $30,000, whatever your favorite coin is, if the damn thing is dumping, right, and you haven't managed your losses and now you're in significant loss, what's the point selling it? Because all you're doing is you're playing into their very hands, right? So you're playing and you're giving it to them. So you're now taking all loss, right? 50% loss, and you're giving it some. Listen, if you've lost more than 20%, just stick to it, right? Just stick with it. Who cares, right? You might end up losing all of it, but you might not end up anything. At least you don't give up and give up your portion of this asset to the corporations or the entities that I wanted to say. So that's what you have to really, really understand. Those are the people who buy high or buy at a normal rate. I would say normal. There is no such thing as buy high, by the way. You bought at the market rate. So the people who bought at the market rate and sold at the FUD prices, you're always going to lose, right? But people who, bought at the current price, didn't sell during the FUD prices, still hodling, waiting for the bull cycle, right? Or at least the top of the bull cycle, or at least a Fibonacci high level from where they are right now. So say, for example, I bought at $10,000. My Fibonacci level would be 1.168, right? So I want to sell at that. So if I can sell at that level, then I'm happy. I've made money, right? So, whether you go long, short, trade, spot, whatever, doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's all about, did you sell for a profit or did you sell for a loss? If you sell for a loss, you're the bloody loser, right? Don't blame institutions or anything like this. So I'm not against any of this. That's why my working theory is not favoring anybody, is not trying to, say any bad things about anyone. It ultimately doesn't matter. As I said, if it doesn't break you, it makes you stronger. So a lot of people are going to be broken through this process that the institutions are probably playing. The only people that are losing are the people who sold for a loss, full stop, right? So I don't want to make this a long-winded video, but I hope the information that I mentioned a few days ago, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I mentioned that I'll talk a little bit about Binance. So I hope this video is informative. I hope you understand that, yes, certain things are happening around the globe regarding Binance, but there are also other things happening around the globe regarding regulations that you've got to really look at as well, right? So once that goes through, yeah. Also, another thing you got to understand, so a global exchange, right? A global exchange registered wherever, Seychelles or whatever, doesn't matter, right? Cayman Islands or whatever, doesn't matter, can operate globally. There's nothing stopping it from operating globally. But what a lot of these top-notch exchanges are trying to do is also work with the local regulations, respecting the local rules, which is a brilliant thing. So I think governments need to open their eyes and minds and hearts and say, look, if these regulations are willing to work with local government rules, then maybe we should give them another thought and say, right, let's approve them. That's what they should be. They should be more friendly because it only benefits them, right? So if people are regulated in their own country under their own jurisdiction, then what happens is at least the government has accountability, and now the exchange has a job of accountability too. So the exchange has to submit these data so that the governments can actually take those things. So everybody's now regulated or doing it in a regulatory framework. So nobody's, it's not causing any harm. It only benefits the governments and institutions or whatnot. So let's see what happens. And yeah, other than that, guys, I hope this video, as I said, it was informative. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Share with one another. That's all you can do. And let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. Do you think that Binance is losing the game? Do you think it's a freaking conspiracy to get rid of exchanges and whatnot regarding what I said in the last video? And do you think Binance is just going to come back stronger? So I don't know what you think, but I'm not talking about Binance, but I think crypto, if they can't break it, we're just going to be stronger. That's all it is, right? So other than that, see you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.